process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry, asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States. This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process.
Bro, this is like, I hate this man so much more than I ever thought I would 1 year ago. Yeah. I love that this is like Brandon literally looking at the situation and going, honestly, Jack, let me tell you, are we going to be bold? Are we going to be brave? Are we going to lead by example? No, we are going to do all of the worst things the Democratic Party has done so consistently throughout the years in an election that should not even be remotely close, just like in 2016. An election that should not be close at all is now going to turn into an election that, you know, the Republican Party might actually win. I don't understand. I thought the migrants who come to the border illegally are at risk of being taken advantage of as slaves. Yes, there's a two-tier labor process in this country. The only way to solve that labor process, the only way to solve that structure is by legalizing the undocumented migrants. The entire criminalization of like voluntary travel into the borders of the United States was designed specifically so that there is a two-tier labor system in this country with a hyper exploitable group of individuals. Everything that I just talked about, however, is not something that is a national security issue. It is, and you might recognize this immediately, it's an economic issue. That's it. We destroy the global south. We cause political instability. We cause chaos in an effort to extract their natural resources and oftentimes their labor as well. Then in that chaos and instability, people obviously are escaping that chaos and instability, and they want to come into the United States of America looking for a better life, a better future for themselves, and security and safety for their children. Then when they come into America, we go, oh, thank God. What a perfect opportunity. Come in, come right in. You are illegal now. And what that means is you have to work for the wages, the worst conditions possible. Yeah, we will not give you this piece of paper that says you can just do this legally, which would give you a set of protections, albeit meager protections, but protections nonetheless, so that we can even further exploit you. Then we can also use this never-ending pool of migrants coming in to work because they're in desperate conditions as a way to depress wages for the documented working class. For the documented labor force, we will say, hey, you don't have to do this stuff. We have slaves already for it, okay? Near slave wages. Beautiful. We bake it into our profit margins. The entirety of the American agricultural output is reliant on undocumented labor. The Biden 24 campaign might genuinely be worse than Hillary 2016. All signs point to 18 to 35 vote deciding the election, and currently Trump is more popular in the candidate age range, not because there are more Republicans in that age group, but because so many people in the age group fucking hate Brandon, but Brandon wants to push on with policies that are strongly abhorred by the age group genius. It's because the 18 to 35 age demographic does not go out and vote. It's a minor percentage of people that go out and vote. And instead of trying to captivate them, trying to actually get them to vote for the first time, even in many instances, or vote at all, well, that takes a lot of time and effort, and it changes your basic policy calculus too. The Brandon camp is looking at likely voters, people who have voted, people who love voting, people who come when they think about voting. Age demographics where people are voting by much higher percentages than the 18 to 35 demographic. Those guys are reactionary. Those guys are right-wing. Those guys are really worried about immigration. Now, part of the problem in this conversation is that there's no alternative. There's no media machine pushing in the same way that like the right-wing propaganda outlets regularly pump out anti-immigrant sentiment. Local news is also pretty right-wing. Shouts out to Sinclair Broadcasting. It's all a monopoly now. And they're also running the whole like immigrant crime panic narrative on a regular basis for two different reasons. One, because if it bleeds, it leads, and everybody knows that. And two, this kind of right-wing sentiment is great. Gets people to watch. Fear sells. So people inevitably start developing these incredibly right-wing attitudes towards immigration. But one thing that you guys need to understand is that Americans are very stupid. Many people are very stupid. Americans are also very stupid. I'm an American. I'm stupid as well, just so you understand. But the one thing that if you consistently look at Americans, the one consistent thing that all American voters will always tell you is that they are inconsistent. What do I mean by this? The median voter in the United States of America simultaneously will want to deport all immigrants from this country violently, while also will tell you in the same breath that they actually think all immigrants that are here deserve amnesty. You think I'm lying? You think I must be joking? Look at the polls. You will see violent deportations become increasingly more popular in the same exact demographics, in the same exact groups, oftentimes in the same exact mind that believes in amnesty for 11 million undocumented migrants currently living on U.S. soil. How crazy is that? How unimaginably crazy is that? It's not crazy. It's America, baby. And therefore, I always look at a situation like this. I always look at the cognitive dissonance demonstrated by American voters. And I think to myself, why don't you use this to your advantage? It's obviously, both of these two opinions are in people's minds. Why the are you going in the easy route? Why are you going along with what you perceive as the easier method, which is leaning on the polls? They see the polls, they panic, and they go, oh, well, we got to do the same thing we've always done. Go more right wing. Very, very, very stupid stuff. Very stupid stuff. And when the Democratic Party does not present a strong counter to the Republican Party or even put forward legislation that the Republicans must react to and keep their attention on, then all of a sudden the Republicans lead the conversation. And that is how you arrive at the ratchet effect. That is how you arrive at Brandon literally going in a 4-year timeline, in a 4-year span. Brandon goes from being like, no person is criminal. No one is illegal, Jack. I'm going to be doing amnesty in the first 100 days of my election, all the way to we should kill migrants ourselves. I'm Brandon. I'm the migrant destroyer. Here it is. A few months ago, I shared a study from Oxford showing that when liberals adopt the policies or polities and narratives of the right wingers, they lose support and push their countries towards the fascists. Biden and many Democrats, in so many ways each day, are walking us off the cliff, something that I've been warning about for quite some time. As a matter of fact, you guys know this. I've been talking about this literally for years. It is one of the classic Hasanabi staples on this broadcast is if you capitulate to the right, all you've done is basically galvanize them. They are not coming at this issue from a point of real facts. They're not looking at this analytically. They're not looking at this critically. They're not looking at the facts of the matter. They are hysterical. They are crazy. They are oftentimes racist. So when you look at the racist hysteria, the racist panic that they're cultivating, and you don't go, hey, that's actually racist hysteria. Fuck off with that bullshit. Here are the facts. And instead go, sorry, the racist hysteria is far too popular, so we're going to have to go with that instead of launching a counter. You end up capitulating to the right, and you end up saying they are right. They're correct. This happens all the time. This happened with the defund the police momentum. This happened with the crime panic. And it's stupid because that is bad politics and it's bad policy. You lose seats when you do that. You lose popularity when you do that because people go, okay, well, you admit that immigrants are rapists too. Why the would I vote for you? I'm going to vote for the guy who said immigrants are rapists for the past 8 years. Do you understand? You can never outflank the right on racism. They own it. You can never outflank the right on patriotism. They own it. Patriotism in the way that Americans understand it is very different than like patriotism in the way that you might understand it, but it doesn't matter because they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And you're a fucking idiot for turning around and going, yeah, you know what? Although there is no factual accuracy or real basis for the way that Republicans have created and cultivated this white nativist anti-immigrant sentiment in this country, saying that immigration is a national security problem and not an economic problem that must be solved by legalizing immigration and offering pathways to citizenship, but instead by consistently creating a panicked narrative built around white supremacist attitudes, even though there is no real factual basis for having these opinions. As a matter of fact, the facts show the exact opposite of what we are presenting. Maybe the Republicans are right because, sorry, they're far too popular now. This narrative is far too popular. It is ridiculous. Why are they doing this? And let me tell you why they're doing it. I'll tell you why. One, because this is, they have miscalculated and think that this is like far too popular of an agenda. Okay. This is far too popular. The people are like, we're terrified of immigration. No one is asking why people are terrified of immigration. Everyone's simply saying we're terrified of immigration. No one is asking the question, how do we like deal with this? How do we educate the people that like their fears are born out of racist panic that they've been whipped into a frenzy by Fox News and all these other outlets? Number one, They are miscalculating and think that like a lot of people think that like someone's got to do something about immigration. Oh